I was born in Somerville, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And when I was 5, Dad and Mom bought a house in Arlington, and we moved to Arlington, Massachusetts. So all my education was in Arlington, Massachusetts. I have had an older sister, was 5 years older than me, and a younger brother that was 6 years younger than I. We were brought up in the Methodist Church. It was a small little church in Arlington Heights, and was there until Bob and I moved to Connecticut in his. And, oh, by the way, he was a neighbor. We were neighbors, believe it or not.
Oh, when you were growing up?
Yep.
Okay.
He was 2 years older, so, growing up, I wasn't part of that group. I was the little kids. And it wasn't until he went to Boston University, and they were having a spring formal, and out of the blue, he called and invited me to go to this spring formal. And
how old were you at that point?
I was 16.
That was pretty exciting.
Yeah. Oh, it was. I mean, can you imagine going to a college formal? But we had a good time, and from then on, we dated pretty steadily. My background is early childhood, and I had my own school in our church. I paid them rent to use the space, and for the last 25 years, I worked in a congregational church in Southbury, Connecticut. Bose of the company in Norwalk, and he was at retirement age, so he retired, and he had always wanted to move up here. His family, his mother was originally from this area, so we had summered up here for years. He was up a year before I was, and was supervising the building of our house and all, and I came up weekends. And then in June of 2003, I moved up, and then sadly in August of 2003, our oldest son died. And that, I have to tell you, it's something you don't ever get over.
And you had already moved up here.
And we had already
so you were away
moved
from
up
your
here.
circle of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. But that was hard on one end, but the other end, Mary, that I know was in God's hand, was I went to school every day because I worked up at Thornton School, and nobody knew him. So it wasn't, how are the kids doing? How is this going? How is that? It was a new experience, a new life for me. And I don't know what I would have done without that. Then we ended up with again another older pastor. It was a small church, so we, had often more retiring age pastors. And he was the love of my life. I mean, he just radiated God's love, if that makes any kind of sense. And that's when I became more interested. But he was the first one that really got me thinking. And unfortunately, he passed away. But then we kind of got away from going to church. And I have to tell you, I did miss it. I just missed the fellowship and the singing and all of that. But it's easy to get in the habit of not going.
It is.
It really is. So, and life was busy.
Sure.
I was teaching full time, and we had 3 kids that were involved and active, and so I got into that routine. Yes, right.
There.
More, believe it or not, since I've come to this church. Now, I've always talked to God because I've always needed Him. Yes,
Right? So
yeah.
that you understand.
Well,
it's
I felt I needed God very much, and I prayed to Him often, many days, when Bob was ill. You know, as far as getting back to reading my Bible and things like that, I mean, I love that Seth gives us a little assignment each week. And things like that I have. And then Grief Share, that was that group that Kelsey led was very, very
Bob's been
helpful.
gone how long now? A couple of years? Is it 2 years?
Yes, 2 years last January he was gone. He's been gone. So, well, I truly, truly believe that God has a plan for each of us. And I admit I question it every so often. And I have questioned it since Bob has passed away. I sometimes think, God, you've left me here, and you must have a purpose for it. And, I just do what I can, and, just blessed. We certainly had, problems. I was through cancer a couple of times, and he had a heart attack, but basically, I always knew God was there, and I try hard to remember Thy will, not mine. So.
Okay.
I just wrote that I truly believe God has a plan for each of us.
Okay.
And sometimes I wish I knew it. But I've always known and felt His love. And later on in this, I wrote, I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like sometimes I feel like I'm living inside of a bubble, and God is this bubble that is all around me and protecting me. And I feel His presence so strongly, like, a dad or a mom, when you were little, how you did with your own kids, wanted to be sure when you went through the grocery store that they didn't get away from you, and you just wanted to know where they always were and that you were looking out for them. That's how I feel God's doing for me. I think He made me to be a wife and a mother. I love those roles. But when I decided to go into early childhood, so I thought, because I played school my whole young life. I was, had my animals all set up, and I was the teacher.
I used to do that too. I never even thought about that, and I wound up being a teacher later. Yes.
Yep. So I thought, I look and I think, God, you showed me that's where I need to be.
You probably had a chance to bless a lot of little people with love, and a wonderful foundation you gave them by doing that.
I know He's there. My bedroom looks out on the lake, and I sit on the edge of the bed in the morning, and no matter what the season, I look out, and I think, what a beautiful world this is. Sometimes I'm watching the birds, and sometimes I'm just enjoying, the beautiful whiteness of the snow, and it's beyond my comprehension how there can be people that don't believe in God. I think, how can you open your eyes and not know what a wonderful world He's made for us? Just amazing. I don't know if there's another better word than amazing, just to know, as I said, from first thing in the morning, until I turn that light out at night, just to know that he's right there. And the older I've gotten, the more I talk to him during the day.
Yes.
I'll say, things like, oh, thank you for that. And just little things, or when you don't feel well, and I just know he's right there supporting me, and I'm grateful for all of that.
Yeah.
I would encourage them certainly to talk to him, to appreciate his world, and just to know he is always there. Always.